stressful recording session. Jesus. So I should probably do it something more uplifting, because it's not all doom and doom, right? And I don't want my messaging to be so negative and downtrodden and melancholy and depressing all the time. But I had to get that off my chest, you know? I'm just really, really sorry that I wasn't able to talk directly, because it wouldn't be the right move. With all these awful people listening, you needed targeted messaging, and I wasn't able to deliver. I didn't have capacity, but the circumstances, the environment was working against me, and I felt like I failed my obligations. Not obligation, but unspoken responsibility to use this platform to help those who were going through a lot of discrimination and prejudice. Again, whether it was through appearance or wealth or status or careers or, you know, whatever, or age or sex or religion or politics, whatever nature it was. And I just couldn't. But, you know, the alternative was great, right? People grew on their own. They learned their own lessons. Eventually, people wisened up. They became more confident, more self-assured. Those who were vulnerable. Of course, there were the people who didn't deserve any confidence at all. And maybe some have been humbled. But most of them, you know, they don't deserve that confidence. They don't deserve that assertiveness. If anything, they are overconfident to the point that they become arrogant and full of pride and vanity. And to those people, fuck you, right? For dogging on people who are just trying to mind their own business. And obviously, I'm speaking very specifically, my messaging and I'm trying to support the people who are just, like, how else describe it, just good people. It's just a bad term to use because there's no such thing as a good person, but people who are genuinely loving and don't really want to go out of their way to, like, hurt other people. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, that should be a basic understanding when I say good people. It's such a vague term, but so it's good news, right? Because they can identify now. Who are the right circles of people to be with and who are not. People's grown up. It took way too long. Many of them still haven't. I should mention that it's obvious that a lot of people are just hiding their cruel intentions now. Right? A lot of people who want to benefit at the expense of others, they're still out there. They're just hiding it now because it's no longer socially acceptable in the public eye, but they still will do it. Continue to be smart. Continue to acquire power. Okay? Continue to fight back over the long term. I don't care if you download this and save it somewhere, but I'm assuming you don't need that anymore, right? This is a message like this is one of the many, one tiny message among many thousands of others I wanted to communicate at the time, but I couldn't, or it wouldn't be appropriate, or I didn't have the capacity, or whatever. It's like, you should. The people who are looking down on you condescendingly, trying to put you down, don't listen to them. Okay? If you're the kind of person that actually genuinely is caring and wants people to do well and stuff like that, you don't go out of your way to make other people's lives miserable. You're great. You're awesome. I hope you know that. I'm sure you do already, because I'm sure you've found better friends, better relatives, or better family, or better partners, or better spouse. Probably have kids, you have grandkids, you have like new godfathers or whatever. You have a new social circle of colleagues or whatever. But you should know you're great. The people who spread rumors and slander and defamation and ostracize and exclude, stereotype of a paper-pushing, blame-shifting bureaucracy in an office setting with power struggles and ego. All that insecurity, all that bitterness and vindictiveness, all the passive aggressiveness. You're right to be courageous. You're right to be confident, to be firm, to be loving, to be caring, to have integrity, to be responsible, to use comedy and humor to uplift people, not tear them down. You're on the right track. You're on the right path. You're doing the right things. I hope you know that. I hope that you've surrounded yourself with the right people who can tell you that. By this point in time, I'm sure most of you have. It's not what it was like 4 or 5 years ago. You now have some power. Right? So, that's great. It's really, really good. And I'm happy to hear that. I don't hear it, but I assume from what I've seen outside nowadays, things are back to normal. Quote unquote normal, right? People are kind of leaving each other alone now. They know how to address. It's like the whole point of this was, people complained at the time so much. They were screaming and going on rage outbursts about how how the city sucks, how life sucks, and then everybody is just kind of taking things out on each other. But the whole reason why life sucks in the first place, and the transit system doesn't work, and the business sector doesn't work, industry doesn't work, and careers and your job sucks, and your relationship sucks, is because y'all just taking it out on each other. And the people who saw through all that, who didn't contribute, were kind of taking the main flak because they weren't participating. But because they weren't participating in the shit show, they were deemed like oversensitive, which is stupid. No, it's because they're doing the right things. In fact, if anything, it's all of you throwing temper tantrums. We need to calm the fuck down so that there won't be security incidents. Y'all bitching all the time, always pissed off and angry that there are security incidents, that's crime, there's assaults. Well, how about this? How about you don't contribute to it? But you don't like that. You don't like the price you have to pay, which is basically to restrain yourself. If you restrain yourself and withhold yourself from lashing out at other people, guess what? There won't be security incidents. There won't be any more assaults. There won't be any more of this bullshit happening. Or there will be far less of it. It'll be much more manageable. but you're not willing to pay the upfront cost. You're not willing to take responsibility of yourself. Everyone's got to do their part. Individual responsibility is incredibly important. We've all got to do our part. And if you can't own up to that, then you're part of the problem. That was the standard that I was trying to set. And there were other people who understood this. Very few. But I think it's kind of obvious now. Like when I walk out there, people kind of get it. Right? Like instead of the minority, a small minority who got it, and the majority being delusional and deranged, now it's like the majority of people kind of get it. Now it's kind of the minority again who are being disruptive. That's good, right? We don't want to go out every day and be badgered by some prick every time we enter the home, try to get to work or get the groceries or take our kids to school or whatever, you know? We don't want that. I would hope. But, no. So it's good, right? Now it's good. Things are better now. It doesn't prevent you from, still going to Muay Thai, taking classes and, fighting, right, in the right circumstances, and going to a comedy show or a stand-up bar and, telling some raunchy jokes and whatnot. Doesn't prevent you from having your 5, 10, 15 minutes of water cooler gossip where you do go around and talk smack with the boys or share banter and gossip with girly friends or whatever. Right, because there's right time and setting for everything. Okay, right? Doesn't prevent you from doing all of that. But people kind of understand what is like. Acceptable and what's not. When it's appropriate and when it's not. You can't censor everyone everywhere at all times. But you can't be a loudmouth, prick, obnoxious fucking bitch everywhere, 24/7 either. Like neither is a viable alternative. Those are two opposite extremes. So things are good now. It's not gonna stay that way, but this is my makeshift way of sharing something uplifting, and still the tone is so negative. It's because, like I said, I received a fucking threat, so I'm not expecting things to go down well, I could come in tomorrow and all the shit's here missing or broken or something, I don't know what's it, but obviously I'm gonna fight back, but I'm just gonna get this out before shit goes south, so yeah, I'm just gonna put it out there. And so this might be my last episode then, if things don't work out well. Good luck. Not to everyone, right? Just the right people. I can't believe I'm saying this because most of my life, I want people to do well, regardless of whoever they are, but I have to distinguish it. Like, I don't wish well for the people who are awful. I just can't. If you're doing awful things and you're going out of your way to shit on people and dog on people, hurting people out of your own amusement or for or your own self-interest in a way that is deplorable and beyond what is appropriate, fuck you, okay? So it's not, I can't endorse that. I'm specifically saying good luck only to the people who are actually genuinely good-hearted, genuinely work on themselves, people who are actually deserve it. We have to distinguish, all right? There's no excuse for that. Like, we just have to distinguish this, because what's the cliche? Evil prevails when good men do nothing, right? We just can't endorse awful things like that. Alright? It doesn't mean that you have to throw in a fucking tantrum and, hold picket signs and block up the highway and be a, a virtue signaling bastard and SJW, because that's awful. That's actually part of the problem too. They're just as awful as they are abusive. These, crazy picket sign activists, like running around, running amok, blocking up traffic. It doesn't happen anymore. But of course, the opposite is also not good. The people who are openly, truly discriminatory, truly prejudiced, people who openly bully and harass and assault, they're also awful too. And we can't condone either of that shit. Okay? So I'm going to be very specific to the people who are genuinely caring and authentic in their love for others, who are genuinely working on themselves and taking responsibility, who use their comedy and their humor and their satire to uplift people, not to tear other people down. Okay? The couples and families who use their companionship to bring other people in, only the right people, okay? Like, who endorse some sort of healthy, loving relationship instead of something that's toxic and just fucking vile, I wish you people well, the right people well, okay? Not the sick, twisted bastards who actually want to hurt people for their own amusement. This message is going to get taken down or whatever. I think that's really important to say. Right? We need to discern. Okay. And on that note, right, like I said, I haven't mentioned this. Like, again, I'm not communicating anything properly. I don't have any messages. And again, I'm dealing with so much right now that I just can't properly function in any way. So I'm just kind of, it's all ramble. But here's another thing that's really important, right? Is that you cannot, if you are someone who is good-natured and loving and whatever, you're kind of inherently at a disadvantage, right? Because they are willing to go to lengths that you won't, generally speaking, if you were to stick to your true nature and they stick to theirs. So, as someone who actually cares and loves, you do need to seek power. You do need to overcome. You need to be persistent. That's why law enforcement and policing and security and all that stuff is a continuous thing. You have to engage in this, because if you are complacent, they will not stop, because that's their nature. They take pleasure and pride in pursuing their own interests, even at the expense of others. So how can you stop? And I know this is very, very, unfortunate, right? It's like, what the fuck? I just want to sit down and just spend time with my loved ones and watch TV and have some nice food. But the unfortunate circumstance is that these people, while you're out there kind of chilling, they're out there trying to get more and more power to subjugate, because that's their form of chilling. They like that. So you have no choice but to basically take proactive measures okay? You have to work ahead. That's why I was able to, stand up against the entire city if I needed to. My point is, you can't be a good person if you're weak. It's kind of like the connection isn't fully there, but believe me, it's true. You can't be a good person if you're weak. You can only be a good person if you're strong. You need to cultivate your resilience, your perseverance, your integrity. Okay? That requires that you're able to go toe to toe and overcome and beat these people at their own game. You can't be weak. Okay? It's not an option. Not in this kind of world that we live in. Not when human nature is so easily corrupted. And I know my messaging sucks and everything here. I'm just rambling and but I felt that was important to say. And if this gets taken down or whatever, just for the few of you who will maybe download it and save it or something, I don't know. But you've always had to fight. If you're a good person, you've always had to fight. If you haven't had to, it's because someone else is doing the fighting for you. And they pay the price. I'm fortunate to be where I am in a country where, 40,000 people have paid the price in World War II for the freedoms and rights that we have here today. But then you could say, it doesn't have to go that far back, right? You can go further back and you could say there's lots of people who have died, millions who have died, with parents who have sacrificed a lot, with grandparents, their ancestors have. There's activists in the past who were noteworthy and they were positive activists. Like Martin Luther King and Bruce Lee and Eleanor Roosevelt, who have had to, and recently Jordan B. Peterson. There are people who have had to pay a price to fight for a certain population demographic that was prejudiced and discriminated against unfairly. It's always been like this. Always. Centuries, hundreds, thousands of years, all the way to like dynasty era, imperial era type. It's always been like this. So if you have any intention of forming, it's not altruism, but if you have good people in your circle you want to protect, okay, and hopefully you are one yourself, you've got to be strategic, you've got to be tactical, you've got to be smart, you've got to be well-rounded, you've got to be well-connected. I'm not saying you can't play, you can't have your fun, right? Like I said, you still have that, but and sometimes, the worst enemy is yourself. Again, it's probably a bit hard. I use some harsh language there. Fuck you to the awful people out there, but not really fuck you to all, because there's, again, there's subdivisions. There are people who have reflected and changed their ways. There are people who just made a mistake once in a while. No, that's totally fine. I just mean the people who are consistently off all the time, and they have a visceral need to take other people down. That's what I'm talking about. There are people who are just making mistakes here and there, and that's fine. That's very normal. Right? I'm not trying to condemn everyone for every tiny little mistake that they make. Who am I to say stuff like that anyways? Like I said, I only speak up when really needed to, and I'm still very reluctant. I don't like doing this. If you can't tell, that's not what the channel was originally focused on, right? It's real, but slice of real life, but this isn't anything that I felt I would feel the need to speak on. It's not what I wanted to talk about. This isn't the kind of messaging I want to deliver. It just happens to be what the world kind of needs. So to the right people, right? You have to be proactive. I wish it wasn't like this, I really do. But that's how the world is, because that's how people are. If you allow yourself, even yourself, as a quote unquote, I'm using vague terms, but there's no such thing as a good or bad person. I mean, there is some, let's not pretend like we're all equal or anything. There are definitely different gradients, right? Whether it's hereditary, through genetics, or through cultivated through environment, a mixture of both, right? Luck, chance, environment, genetics, hereditary, whatever, upbringing, all that stuff combined. But when human beings loosen up too much of their self-control, right? As people, when we lax too much on our self-restraint, self-awareness, capacity for self-reflection, we can all do horrible things. There's not a single one of us who can do the mass atrocities that no. Again, I'm speaking with some hyperbole and exaggeration, but if you can just dismiss that for poetic literacy or whatever, it's just, I'm speaking conversationally with you right now, right? Like I would with a friend. That's what I you can't tell that's what I also do on my slice of real life. It's just me having a conversation with you. If you loosen your grasp on yourself and allow yourself to go off the rails, you can do some most deplorable shit on the fucking planet. Most people are capable of that. I am no exception too. Right? We're all capable of doing the horrible, horrible things that like Joseph Stalin or Mao Zedong or Mussolini or there are more names, but it's not coming to the top. What was it, the Mongol Empire? Was it the Khanate, the Ilkhanate or whatever? Everyone's capable of doing horrible things if you just relax your self-control, and you don't have to be a neurotic, panicky mess. You don't need to be anywhere near like me either, by the way. I don't see myself as being, I'm actually, like I said, I'm speaking very quietly right now, and I'm very, my thought patterns are irregular, not because I have to like suppress myself, and that fucking sucks. But I just gave a little glimpse of how I usually am, right? Like I'm not like that all the time. Usually I'm not like that. I'm very laid back and everything, actually. Pretty chill person, but here's the thing is, like, because the environment and the nature of what we're talking about here, it's so fucking negative. It sucks. I don't like talking about this shit. It's garbage. It's fucking garbage, but it needs to be addressed because it's part of the everyday real world problems that we're facing, and it's not exactly a happy topic to talk about, so I'm just, just calling off for what it is. It sucks talking about this, but yeah, if you loosen your self-control and you allow the worst version of yourself to come to fruition, and you encourage that out of your wife or your husband or your partner, of your friends or your family members, out of society, out of the community, out of your neighborhood, what do you think is going to happen? It's very easy to be disgusting. It's very easy to be cruel. It is not hard to be condescending, to be patronizing, to be vile, to be abusive, to be neglectful. It's so easy. It's primitive, it's primal, it's in our DNA, it's in all of us. We can all become like that if we just loosen our grip a little too much. And allow ourselves to, move towards some sense of lunacy and mob mentality and peer pressure and dopamine addicted, entertainment, whether it's on the screen, on the phone, or whatever. It cater ourselves to to instant gratification and stuff like that. It's so easy. It should be obvious. You don't even need devices. Technologies and people have been doing awful things for thousands of years. Just because by virtue of joining large groups of people, they lose accountability for themselves, like a witch hunt in the 1400s. Like the barbarians did, and they would try and conquer and pillage other villages 2,500 years ago. People can be Neanderthals if you want them to. All of us have the capacity to be this way. So, you do have to be proactive. You don't need to be a panicky mess. If you can't tell, I loosened my grip there a little bit. Despite the environment, I can't really speak on things as well as comfortably as I as I would like to, but if you're a good-natured person, you care about other people, and you have vested interest to protect, including yourself. Please be smart. Please be careful. Please be confident. Please be self-assured. Check yourself once in a while. Check those and vet those around you once in a while. Okay? Because we all can be really awful if we want to be. I'm delivering this message specifically to the people who really need more confidence, not less. Because there are a lot of people who are fucking arrogant and obnoxious and snarly, like parasitic. They will parasitize off other people's emotions. They think that because, they think everyone's capable of jealousy, that everyone's capable of envy, that there aren't people who haven't done the work and done the character to overcome that in an early age. Like, there are people who just don't feel jealousy or envy or pity, and they pity people who feel jealousy. I'm one of those. I hate it. I hate people who think that I can feel jealousy. Like, you're full of shit. You'll project your own emotions and insecurities onto me because I'm not like you. We are not the same. You're a fan of the product. You're a fan of the culture. You're like Drake. I'm a product of the culture. I'm like Kendrick. We're not the same. Okay? It's not the same. Okay? We grew up differently. We have different experiences. Don't dump your bullshit on me. So for people out there who are genuinely good, caring, loving people who don't take pride and joy or amusement in dogging on other people all the time, regardless of whether or not they're far left or far right, fucking like incel men who like dog on women all the time, or like feminist, crazy, batshit women who dog on men all the time, regardless of what race or creed you are. I don't care whichever alignment you are, whether the division is between like some kind of like Trumpist or Trudeau, some kind of like what other extremes, like the Hong Kong, like the capitalist, like really snobbish Hong Kong capitalists, and then like a really corrupted mainland Chinese, or like different castes in India, right, where there are so many subdivisions of hatred amongst each other, or in South Korean, like men versus women thing. That's apparently a very big thing with the whole nth room scandal, like and in like the favelas and shit, like Brazil. But I don't care what polarization. I'm just talking to the good-natured people here, okay? And you should be confident in yourselves. You should be. You're doing great. The world needs more people like you. People who have some self-control, who have some self-regulation, who know how to manage power responsibly, like Bruce would, like Aurelius did, like Joan of the Arc did. Okay. You're doing great. Please continue. Please become stronger. Please. If for those of you who, not everyone wants to take world leadership, but for those of you who do, maybe if you can, I would encourage. I think you're doing a great job. If you decide to take up that incredibly difficult role of responsibility, then you have my respect. And there's a lot of people who don't deserve my respect, and it's not like, what the fuck, you don't need, I'm some stranger on the fucking net, you don't need my respect. Nobody respect my respect is worth a penny. This point is nothing. I'm just saying that out of camaraderie, and I respect that. I respect that. It's not worth anything. My respect isn't worth anything. Nobody needs my respect. Fuck that. Fuck my respect. Who cares who I am? Y'all don't know me, right? So you don't need it. But like, I'm just saying, like, you're great, you know? And I hope you know that. Because there are a lot of people who aren't great. A lot of nasty people out there. And I might not be there to say that. I just felt like I wanted to get this out there. Get this off my chest. You're doing great. Again, not the fucktards out there who go around harassing people. I'm talking about the right people. You're doing great. You know who you are. The real ones out there. You ain't stainless. You're not silver spoons. You ain't no trust fund babies. But then again, there are rich people who are great too. There's still something. They're great people who have earned their wealth. Them too, it doesn't matter, right? It's not divided by money or race or color or creed or country or gender or sex or whatever, politics or religion. You know, there are shitty people of every religion and there are great people from every religion. I'm talking to the right people here, really. Be assertive, be self-assured. Don't lose yourself to pride and vanity. Don't go into the excess, right? But you're doing great. And I wish I told you this sooner. I wish I could have delivered this message sooner, and I didn't. I'm sorry. But you're all stronger for it now anyways. Because y'all did your part, and I did mine. And I might not be here. And this might be the last thing I say. But you're great.